Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep, welcome back to the map editor, and welcome back to what will become our home island in this Pacific paradise. Now I have a little confession to make. Between last episode and this episode, this little trench thing that we made, what did we call it, a midden? Or a storage trench? Yeah, it might look slightly different. That's because as soon as I finished the recording session, I went, oh, you know what, it's time to do the edit, hit escape, and forgot to save, so I had to go and quickly put this back in. So I think it's a little narrower than before and a little deeper, but it's not a problem because it just adds to kind of the randomness of the island. All the little accidents, mistakes just kind of work their way into the fabric of the island itself. Now, going up a little bit higher, we can see that we've done quite a lot of work. There's a lot of detail here in kind of bits around the outside, some bits in the middle. If we kind of the camera's really difficult to control with its kind of speed up and slow down mechanism. It slows down when you get close to an object, speeds up when you're far away from it. I try not to touch the go faster button, which is shift, because we would just end up somewhere near Saturn, which is fun if you're a fan of astronomy, but not fun if you happen not to want to be in the outer reaches of our solar system. So this episode, what I thought we could do is get rid of these cliff sixes. The main reason for that is that having these things here, 1, 2, and 3, they served as markers. So if we go up and look at the map from above, so where this submarine is on the left, there's a beach there. There's a beach over here as well. There's a beach at the bottom. The camera's going a bit funny because we're looking almost directly down. And then there's huge kind of inland beach here. Now these are landing points for a raft, these big flat areas where we are guaranteed to be able to land a raft. However, now we've built up the island and we've got a kind of a better idea of what's going on, we could probably get rid of these markers. So we could have built anything here. We could have built cliffs or thrown a load of stones into the sea, or just made it generally difficult for a raft to get through. But so if we delete these, we're going to change how the island looks. But let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of this one. There we go. Right, that's suddenly changed a lot of things. Fine. And if we get rid of this one, we're going to have to do something, because we've placed a little path here, which is fine, but we're going to have to make this kind of look a bit more in keeping with the island. So why is there a little narrow pathway up there? Are there going to be cliffs here? We can do that. We can play around with the rocks. Now, what I'm going to do is probably use the smaller cliffs, not cliff 6. There's no reason why you shouldn't use cliff 6. It's absolutely fine. It's completely up to you. It's your island. You do you. That's something that I am, whatever works. I'm afraid. I'm not afraid. We're not afraid to use whatever works. Here, today, you can just do whatever you want to do. But I am going to play around with some rock structures and just kind of throw some smaller rocks together and just kind of see what fits. So it's like, are we going to use this? Does this work? Is this both going to work is it going to be in keeping with the island? And at the same time, is it both going to look right? Is it going to serve any sort of extra function? I mean, we could be on this beach and be like, I want to be up there. So we can jump on these rocks and just get a little bit of extra altitude and look out at the sea. That's fine. We can still climb up and down in there. That's fine. So we can leave the path. I think that's kind of okay. Camera's a little bit tricky for doing things like recording a YouTube series. I wish it just moved at a fixed velocity, but that might be a game engine thing rather than a Stranded Deep thing. You have to understand that with Stranded Deep, they are using, I believe, why am I saying I believe? I know it's the Unity engine for this. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is just move this cliff around and just kind of rotate it. And what I'm looking at is this plant here, kind of fitting it in with what we've got. It's a little tricky because it's going to make one side look okay and the other side look a bit ugly. A little bit ugly buggly, but that's fine. We're going to throw some rocks and various bits and pieces in. Now these these cliffs here, they have a kind of a neat texture on them. What we might do is throw some stuff out further to see, just to create the illusion or the impression or the idea that actually something carries on in this direction. So we could actually build something out here. That would be kind of neat. So it's like, oh, hey, there was something here, but it's collapsed into the sand. There's a reason for these rocks being here. That'd be neat, actually. Let's do that. So we just kind of keep an eye on one side, keep an eye on the other side. Is there a way of us climbing up here? That's a question we should ask ourselves. Kind of a perennial thing, because if you build it, it will be climbed. Good question. Excellent question. What do we want to do here? Well, we are already way, way, way through the looking glass at this point. So why don't we just carry on? Just banging our way through that looking glass. Yeah, we may as well just go full Alice in Wonderland at this point. So cliff 6, we don't want to use cliff 6. We get this little nubby cliff here. Oh, that's kind of a neat one. Is that the same thing? Am I just looking at the same thing from a different angle? I probably am, actually. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Right, cool. So we have this stuff. And thinking on the fly, what are we going to do? Well, just going to arrange these things, make sure that you can't disappear underneath them or get trapped or whatever. That's okay. Okay, fine. So we've got cliff 2, which is kind of a neat little cliff. And what we can do is put that there, push that in. We can't resize it, which is a bit of a problem. Oh no! Now we're miles away. No, we're not. We're okay. We're okay. So what we've done... buttons. Put my fingers on the wrong buttons. There is actually a set of keys that I can replace these WSA and Ds with textured ones. And while they're great, they're also angled slightly differently and make it awkward to put your fingers on. I don't know why they do that. It's like, hey, here, have some textured buttons, but they're angled at a different rate or have different dimensions that all the other keys have, so it makes it awkward to type on. Right, so I'm looking at this here, and there's a reason for this, because I think we could do the same thing over here. There's a reason for that being up there. We'll get to it momentarily. I think you probably already know what's going on. We're going to take the terrain. We are going to hit the cog, and we're going to turn the boop. Where are you? Display ocean. There we are. Oh, the ocean. So we're back to this kind of cake-looking thing here. Now, there's a reason that I kind of like sticking with this size of island, and that reason is we can have kind of a nice apron here, which gives us plenty of room for swimming around in before you get to the terrifying deep. So we can put like little rocks and little structures and stuff there, and it's kind of cool, you know, all the cool things you can do. We might actually do that. We might put some stuff off to one side, but for the time being, I'm going to hit raise. I'm going to change the size down, and then I'm going to select something from around here. Something with grass on it, actually. So set height. You are going to be the height we need. Use the hard edge brush for this. Oh, okay, that's fine. I'm always a little worried now that we've experienced problems with the brushes, being that the brushes have had issues punching holes through to Australia, and Australia's like, could you stop doing that, man? Because I'm thinking like, oh no, there's like water coming from my bedroom and everything. I don't even know what accent that was. I probably just offended everyone. It's like, who did you offend with that accent? Everyone. I see everyone being offended. Right, okay, fine. The internet, it's lovely, but you have to press R at this point. There we go. So press R to pay respects. Well, press F to pay respects, but press R to rotate that piece of rock. And we're going to be using this here. And the reason we're using this here is kind of a neat, very narrow cliff. So what I want to do, we can rotate it around. Yeah. All right. So why are we doing this? Oh, why are you doing this? It's like really boring, no? I've seen you do this before. You build a little tower out in the middle of nowhere, and I cannot believe it, man. I thought I knew you. Were you selling out to the, like, off-tower things? Yeah, why not? Sometimes you just got to be unapologetic about these things. And sometimes you just got to say, well, look. Well, look. I really have to clean the foot pedal because it's... I put some tape on it a while ago. If you hear like a click in the background, that is the foot pedal resetting, where I take a breath. That's, yeah. I need to get some WD-40 on it. So essentially, you never use WD-40 to lubricate anything. That's just silly. You will end up introducing more dirt than you remove. And it's not a lubricant, it's a water displacement agent. So WD-40 stands for Water Displacement Formula 40, which was a chemical that was used because they found that nuclear missiles were corroding in their silos. And the Americans were like, well, is there a way we can stop these things corroding in the silos? So they set it out for a bit of research, and they were like, yeah, we've got this water displacement formula, which we can spray on the missiles, which will keep the water away. I tell you what, it's literally the water displacement formula 40, because it's the 40th iteration of the chemical makeup that we had. And so yeah, but interestingly, WD-40 could be used for other things, not just keeping water off metals, but in a kind of an interesting turn of events, it can be used to clean up glue from things, which is if you've ever had something and it's like, oh, there's sticky glue on this. Why? I don't want this thing to have glue on it. Yep, you can use it to get rid of that. It's very good, excellent at getting rid of chain lube. So if you have a motorcycle and the rear wheel is covered in dirt and grease from the chain, you can use WD-40. It's actually excellent for just degreasing stuff. So that's a top tip, and something I use to degrease the rear wheel of the bike quite often. So yeah, that's one of the things I wouldn't. When it comes to the motorbike, something I wouldn't make up a story about. That is absolutely the truth. So we're putting these rocks around here. It's going to be kind of a small island. It's right on this precipice. But still, I want to make sure that there's no gaps or anything underneath. That's fine, that's fine. This might now be a little bit too... Let's look at this. Let's just look at this in greater detail. Right, when do we get to WD-40? Oh yeah, the foot pedal. The foot pedals, so basically to stop it clicking every time, because it's plastic on plastic, every time I put my foot on it, I put a bit of tape on there. And initially it was gaffer tape. And the problem with that is that gaffer tape is terrible because the glue came away and then the fabric sort of material stuff came away and left the glue behind. That was the problem. So every time I take my foot off like that, it sort of does a little click, and I'm like, oh, and why do you use a foot pedal? Okay, so I record audio on the PC, on the laptop instead of the PC that I'm playing on, and it means that I can do things like take a breath without getting too many of the breaths on the recording. So literally just that. So we're going to go for these big rocks, and so basically what we've done is we've built this little ramp up here. Now we've got these rocks, so we're going to make ourselves a little rock bridge. I just looked at the sort of very, very large, was it Cliff 2, which is great, but it's so massive that we lose a lot of altitude when it comes to stuff like this. Now, I could just go and do what we've done before and use, I think it's items. No, it's structures, isn't it? So we could go structures and we could use a seafort bridge here. But with the exception of the little submarine thing, most of this is kind of Iron Age settlement. We might put some shipwrecks and stuff around. That would be kind of cool. But I kind of want to keep to the theme of like a very very early settlement. So what we're doing is we are kind of just manipulating this stuff. Now the problem is these rocks have got different texture to these. They behave in a different way because if we turn these cliffs over, the green, the sort of grassy green, actually only renders on the top side. It's not stuck to the model. It will move around, which is actually kind of a neat little feature. I really like that. I like those little things like that. So we got these rocks, big rocks. Whoa, we want to go up here. Big rock 5. Nope. So these Big Rock 1 and Big Rock 2 seem to be the go-to girls for this. I think maybe let's try this. So we gotta make it look like we can have it just touching, as long as it is actually touching. Because in nature you do find these kind of curious granite stacks that look like, hey, these things are about to fall over, but because of the sheer weight involved, I wish we could turn things, just like change the point of rotation. Just these little things, little quality of life things. I suppose the only person who would use that would be me in creating stuff like this. Oh, I suppose people making like adventure maps as well. Not adventure map, challenge maps. That's the one where you stack things up and you're like, oh, I've got a lot of stuff stacked up now. That would be a thing. Right, so we're going to hit R, rotate that round, rotate it up, and boop. Okay, so this is looking a bit. There we go, it's better. Just throw that in there. Oh, you've just thrown it in. Is it going to work that well? I don't know. Don't ask me. What do I know? Throw this rock down here. That's going to be underwater, isn't it? So we're pretty much done with the thing. So we'll display the ocean. Oh, okay, that's better. That's better. It makes more sense at this point. That doesn't feel right. That does not feel right. Okay, let's go. Objects. Please objects. Right, okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, let's T, bring that out, push it down, put it in. There we go. It just looked a bit too much like a little humpback bridge. And it's like, this does not feel right. This just kind of feels a bit odd. A little bit wrong. Okay. So that's okay. That kind of feels like it's like placed on top. That's all right. That's all right. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at this and saying, hey, does it look like I've created it, or does it look like it should exist? And we're only guessing about stuff like that. It's like, are you guessing now? I mean, are we supposed to say yes or no? I don't know. I mean, come on. We're going to throw some stuff in there just to fill that gap in. And I'm also looking at the sea. We can put some stuff in the sea. Just little rocks here and there. Won't even spend too much time on them. We can rotate them around. And the reason for that is we know this seafloor is absolutely flat. And is that a small rock? Is that the same small rock as before? We're going to have to turn the sea off. Oh no, turn the sea off. That was not turning the sea off. Let's do this. Okay, fine. We have, that's the same rock, aren't they? Of course they are. That must be objects. We should put a shoreline rock in there. We can put a shoreline rock in there, it's just underwater. So in case the game doesn't actually render anything down there, we could put some rocks and stuff down there. And the reason for that is to kind of give the illusion that there's been some sort of activity and these things are kind of falling away, maybe. Let's do this, see what that looks like. Let's change the time of day. Time of day. How do you feel? It's all right. I mean, it's still fairly obvious. Okay, fine. What are we going to do? Objects. Put that back. Put that down a little bit. Rotate it. That's not rotating that particularly. That's rotating that. Okay, fine. Okay, I think the combination of this rock here, this little rock here that we've just thrown in, and the fact that that's just about gripping something up there is fine. Let's go like that. What's this doing here? Is this actually serving us any purpose whatsoever? Not really. Let's do that. Which way is out? There, that is out. Okay. Alright, okay, cool. So if we turn the water back on. Yeah. Alright, that's better. It looks a little bit more like it's kind of holding on for dear life. A little bit more tenuous link on the world. So if we go over here, objects, shoreline rocks. Shoreline rocks? Surely not. Put those there just for a little bit of detail, a little bit of deets. And then we can add small rocks? Small rocks. Just want to know that we can probably get up there. In fact, why don't we just get the... Why be being dumb again? Get the door out. I think we could probably jump up there, jump onto there. Yeah, that should be quite an easy climb, actually. Yep, that should be quite an easy climb. That's not a problem. Not a problem. Alright, fine. I mean, we could always just throw something else in there in terms of cliffs. Rocks. Rocks. Cliff 3, is that? That is the one I'm looking for. That is that boy. Throw that there, in there, and then get rid of the door. Is that the door? That is the door. There you go. So adding those two cliffs together, that's fine. They can just hop up there. Brilliant. This guy here is kind of in the way, but if we throw that just a little bit closer to not being here, that's not... Should we just get rid of that for the time being? Let's do it. Let's do it. Done. Done in rings. All right. So we've got a little archway there. It's not brilliant. I still feel... I think it's probably because of the texture of the rocks. That's what's causing it to look a bit odd. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, we'll just have to go with it. We have to roll with it. Oh, I think this thing here. What are you doing? But I think it's close enough to that rock not to even notice that. Not so it's less noticeable that it's like from something else. Throw some trees on here. Shall we do that? Let's do it. Let's do it. What about pine? Pine 1. Ooh. That's a big old pine. What about pine 3? That's not so big a pine. Alright, let's get rid of pine 1. That's massive. Mahoosive. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a pine 3 on there. But you know what? I think we shall just kind of ignore that for the time being. That's okay. So this thing, during a storm, because of the land, I think the rocks might get swamped, but the land should be okay. We might find that the waves fold themselves over a little bit, but that's kind of a thing we'll just have to put up with. Put some small pines in. Pine small 2. That's smaller of the two. Yes, it is. That's okay. Let's put one over there. Ah! Huh. I've seen that happen a few times where toggles and things get just get picked up as you left click. So that's not unique to the game. Let's do this. Let's do that. In fact, let's move it a little bit further over to the edge. There we go. There we go. And maybe one over here. Pine small. Pine small 2, pine small 3. Where's pine small 1? Game? Is there a pine small 1 you need to talk to us about? Because, I believe there's one missing. Alright, fine. Kura. Everywhere, but not here. That's a Kura. Fine. Ficus. That's big old ficus. I don't think we need a ficus tree here. Is it going to look any different to... Nah. Should we try and make an island without a ficus tree on it? We can try. Let's do it. Let us do it. Right, okay, fine. Pine 3. If we put 2 of these on here, that might work. We're going to leave them straight up, sort of pointing straight up at the sky. That's okay. We can put some other things on here as well. Put another pine small there. Right, okay. It's a pine island. Why not? Why not? Young palms? I don't know. So it's pines. We we may come along and just empty the island of greenery, like if you were to say, oh, I desperately need all this stuff, no? Then you might actually just remove everything from the island and there'll be no greenery left. So what we're going to do is just throw some other plants in as well, just to be on the safe side. Whoa! It's making sure the leaves aren't clipping through the trunk, which they are. Ooh, they're not anymore. Ficus. So the ground's fairly flat here anyway. What's that? That's another of the same. That's the same species. That's the same freaking plant. Do we want to put the same plant down here? I don't know. It's not looking... It's not looking great. Would these plants be here? I tell you what, let's get rid of this guy. Let's get rid of you. Some bushity bushes down. There we go. There's a bush. Yeah, that's fine. Anything else? Fruit. Fruit should go here because it is a long way away from a place. So why don't we... Ooh, a yucca. If we kind of put stuff over here. No, it kind of looks like a garden centre. All right, fine. We're just looking at plants to kind of naturally fill this place. We've thrown a few pines in, which is fine, but it's gonna look a bit odd. We could throw some logs down. You know what? That might be a thing. So if we rotate that and press T, rotate it. There we go. Press T and just move it over a little bit. We could also probably depress the terrain slightly. Let's do this. Let's hit lower. Let's change the size of that. Let's change the amount almost all the way down. Crank that up a little bit. And a little bit more. There we go. Oh, knock it down a bit. These freaking brushes, man. Let's save the game first, because not only have we done quite a lot, but just in case the brush decides to punch a hole straight through the world. Alright, cool. I just don't want the terrain to be all absolutely level. It's just a like a personal preference there. And we should probably smooth these edges. So we'll grab the old smoothing tool. There we go. Just any sort of visible edge, we'll just kind of give it a quick smooth. I think everything else is fine. Just across there. There we go. That's good. Go back to objects. Let's click on that. Let's move that back a little bit, because it's looking like... Still looking a bit too garden centre. I'm not too happy with that. We can rotate it a little bit. Just make sure it's still in the ground. Where is the base of this thing? It is in the ground. Good. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So that's there. Rotate that. Push that out a little bit. These physics objects will just set on the ground when we come into the zone anyway. Put a curatory in. Yeah, we could do that. Rotate that. Kind of just check that. There'll be grass on this island anyway, so that's not a real issue for us. Just make sure everything is actually touching the ground. So there's just some stuff there. Just a neat little thing that we can go, oh, there's some stuff over there. Maybe we can hop over and slam our face into the beyond. It's not anything other than a curiosity, really. But it gives us a reason to have this kind of headland structure-y thing. We can also throw some other objects here into the sea. Why don't we do that? Why don't we get ourselves these big rocks? Let's get some cliffs and just toss them into the sea. There we go. Let's do that. So we do that, and we go bloop. There we go. So we're just throwing some stuff in the sea, just literally as decoration, essentially. And let's do that with that as well. Is that going to work very well? Not for us, I think. I think not. What about this? Okay, cool. That's fine. Move that out a little bit. And rotate it a little bit. Why not? So at this point, we're just kind of playing around with the edge of the world. Brush. Raise. In fact, no, we want this one here, set height. Read from there. Okay, cool. So we're going to change the amount. that's the size. But we're just going to brush this out a little bit because it looks a bit too uniform. Considering these rocks will probably play with the or mess around with the old, I guess, tides. Why am I thinking of tides? Not currents. That's it. They'll probably mess around with the currents. That's a thing that's definitely going to happen. So we're just going to make sure that the sea is not like uniformly flat around. Not sea. Coast is uniformly flat. We're just going to sort of make sure it's kind of a little bit wobbly. Wobbly. That's a word I hope never to say again ever. Brilliant. It's like one of those advertising things. I went to I went to the supermarket earlier. Now this is gonna date this episode. If you're watching this in the future, you people with your flying cars and your DeLoreans, which I am insanely jealous of. Yeah, so basically I went to the supermarket earlier and there was this thing? Yeah, that's okay. Just gonna smooth this off. There was a big like advert billboard thing in the foyer to the supermarket. Supermarkets have foyers. Yeah, so you go in and there's this sort of big lit up billboard thing, and it's obviously a stock photograph. So it's someone acting as a parent, and there's a couple of kids there. Now the cynical part of me says, they're all paid models. The kids, the person pretending to be the dad, none of it's real. Of course it's not. But it was like they were all happy, and I think there was even a fireplace there burning away, and it said, "Oven cleaner, the best thing for Christmas," or something, whatever it actually said. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it was an advert for oven cleaner tied in with the fact that it was going to be Christmas in over a month. And I'm like, that is wonderful, but also terrible at the same time. So we've just punched this little bit of sand out. We've got these rocks here. So it kind of looks like the sand is now reaching out to the rocks, I guess. We've got this kind of curious structure. We've got this little bridge thing, which is repeated from here and kind of over here as well. So it's not unusual to see stuff like this. I might still tweak it a little bit. It still feels a bit too much like oh, that's better. Immediately better. Huh. Well, who'd have thought it? Yeah, it kind of still felt like a bit like a humpback bridge. It's kind of angled slightly, so it kind of gives a little bit of, ooh, we better stay in the middle of this, otherwise we'll fall into the sea and have to swim back, and that'd be terrible. Throwing some rocks into the water to make it look like the rest of whatever this land bridge was fell into the sea a while ago, because that's a thing. We also have this little island, and we've made an island without my favourite ficus tree. Yeah, I do like the ficus trees. I gotta say, they are delightful trees. We put 2 pine trees on the opposite side of the island to give it kind of a screen almost. We've thrown some other plants on. We'll probably move that a little bit further around there. There's a bit of wood here. There's a bit of fruit. There's a couple of things you can chop up for stuff. What I might do is throw some of these little rocks here. Small rock. How about there? Okay. Just as a way of saying, hey, there's a bit of rock there. Maybe another one there. Rotate that. And then just slam it into the earth. There we go. So it's like, hey, there's some rocks and stuff here. Yeah, why not? That's okay. That's fine. So you sort of come here, and bear in mind, if you've got the horsepower, this will be covered in grass anyway, because anything with this grass texture will have the grass sprites on it. Let's just rotate that just to give it. It literally doesn't matter. Why am I rotating this? It means nothing, because as long as it's not fully slammed into the ground, it'll be there. It'll just be resting on the ground when we come and have a look at this anyway. I mean, this is a home island. Why are we... Oh, I don't know. Why am I spending so much time on stuff that just simply doesn't matter? Right, okay. So we're kind of creeping our way along here. Good. So we've got these small rocks. Okay. I like it. Another. Interesting. So we are just kind of playing around with the rocks. We have the little path there, so we've created a reason for the path. Oh, I don't like that. I like that, but I don't like it. Ooh, I don't like it because it's the same as the what's gone before. And what's gone before, while it's okay, it's not. There we go. That's better. Better. See, here there's a big sloped piece of rock, which is great for climbing on, and I'm like, that's great, but if you have that rock there and that rock there facing in the same direction, then it obviously looks like these things have been placed because you get a pattern repeat, and I don't like pattern repeat. So we've got this little path down here. I might move this banana plant a little bit. There we go. Is that still in the ground? It is now. Right, okay, fine. And the reason for that is just to open that area up. But bear in mind, once again, these steps might not even be visible. So stuff like this might not even be visible. Things like the fireplace might not even be visible because we'll be running it on a graphic setting that has all the grass sprites with it. But we've made a neat little path down to the beach here. A neat little path here. I'm kind of liking that. That's okay. I just threw this rock on the beach because it just felt like it was a rock that should be on the beach. I keep hitting the green thing instead of the blue thing just because of the angle that we're viewing things at. Oh, submarine. What are we doing with you? I don't know. Captain Nemo. And the Nautilus. What do we do with this? How far up? I mean, we could bring that up a little bit more, I guess, to give it more of a superstructure. Because it really has. Whoa! I don't want to do that. I just reached for the Control Z and Control Z. Sorry, I'm English. I just reached for Control Z and it's not there. It's not something that functions. Just going to make sure this is absolutely properly visible. Right. Okay. So this. Which one's this? So which one's the one that's upside down? The one that's upside down is, so there's two boats here. So if I move that up, give it a little tickle on the old rotate. Get that flat on there. We might be able to just get rid of the rocks and just be like, hey, you know, this is just what the conning tower looks like, and this scrubby bit of stuff here is actually where the hatch is, or maybe the hatch is. Oh yeah, look, there is a hatch built into it. That's fine. We're not clicked on the right thing, so press T, just bring that up. Right, so we're just kind of tweaking this. It's the wrong thing. So if I click on that and click on this, so the only way to know the orientation of the two boats. So if I press T, one has the green arrow pointing down, the other one has the green arrow pointing up. If I press R, there's no real way of working out which one is which. Okay, fine. Well, we just work with what we've got, what we've given. Basically, what I'm looking at is this bit here at the front, and I'm looking at it because when we push it down far enough, we get a little bit of stuff showing through. Now, it doesn't really help that the main mast of this boat is bent over, but the two things that need to appear are this rear section here and this here, and nothing. Some rivets and stuff. What? Oh, okay. There's more stuff showing on one side than the other. Did we? Okay, let's press R. Grab the. Not that. Oh my word. So it's this one. If I rotate that by 2 pixels, press T, and then no, that's upside down. This is the one I want. This one, I think. I'm just tweaking it by very, very small degrees, just to kind of make it. Oh, I keep hitting the wrong thing. These two models that are very, very intimately placed. So this, when this spawns, is going to have a chest on top of it anyway. So it looks kind of. Does that look better? Look more convincing? I think we just work with what we've got. I'm thinking we probably just jam it down a bit more into the hole and into the sand. And just leave that little ridge there. I think that's just what we're going to have to deal with. Fine, because if we go under the sand, and it's going to be terrifying, so let's get out of the terrain. Yeah, we've got two boats that are essentially just upside down together. One's in the other one. Oh, let's get back up. It looks okay on the surface, you know. It looks fine. We've got this. Well, it's three boats actually, because this one here. Let's do this. Let's raise that up, because that's kind of says, "Hey, we've lost some of the ribs out the side." Right. Okay. Fine. All right. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. I think. Let's get rid of these rocks. Rocks, please go. There we go. That's a very British thing. Rocks, please go. Oh yeah, look, the whole thing was tilted forward. Huh. Alright, so let's move that. Not that. Oh, we're on the wrong... Oh. So move that forward a little bit. I have to keep clicking on it just to make sure it's selected. I'm just looking at the... Okay, fine. Alright. Yeah, so that looks like it's bent over anyway, but that's not a problem. So it's kind of a... So it's a submarine that's on the beach. What's the story with this? Something went wrong. They beached the sub and then got the heck out of Dodge. Fine. Why did we build this again? That was a curiosity. It was the one concession to kind of a curiosity on the island. I don't really want to throw a fort in on this, although it'd be kind of cool. I just think that if we can make an island without forts and without what we've done before, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. So we're just tweaking this a little bit. Let's click off of it. That's not clicking. Let's click over that. If in fact, if we click terrain and then objects, then we get nothing selected in terms of objects, and we aren't going to accidentally mess anything up. Right. We are going to save, definitely. So we're going to hit save, hit yes, we're going to hit resume. Because when you make changes, you need to make a save. So that's kind of a change. The submarine was a change, the island was a change, and now we've got this kind of big old beach here. And this is a huge beach. I think by taking the cliffs out, it's actually helped us a lot, enormously. So we've got a big flat area here, got a big flat area here, and we've got a big flat area here. Well, we've got a landing area here, and then it gets a little awkward to take a big raft through there. So the main reasons for having sort of an easy approach is that the big rafts steer very, very poorly. They're very, very awkward to move around. Right, so this thing is fine. I think it's a little bit more refined. We can get rid of the stuff above it. We can even just leave it as it is. So we have this kind of estuary thing going on from the fresh water. Why don't we go back to terrain? In fact, we will select height from there. Yeah. The size can go down. The amount can go down. The target value is fine, so we'll just leave that. And hopefully we won't punch any holes through, but if we do, we've got it saved. So if the brush bugs out, then that's okay. So we're just going to punch some stuff through the beach, a little bit sort of deeper water, I guess. Around where the submarine is, I think we can just kind of leave that. It's kind of neat. So I'm just going to punch some, there we go. It's like, whoa, this flow of water onto the beach. Several kilowatt hours of energy just pouring out. Is it kilowatt hours, or is that just going to be watts in terms of flow? It is a spring, but then it's probably tidal as well. Ooh, I don't know. How would you measure the amount of energy coming out of a spring in terms of force? Probably a way that I don't know, or for the purposes of this recording, care that much about. Right, okay, so we've gone and punched a huge great hole in the sand, and it's just like, oh no, we've gone and messed up a beach that looks like a button, no? I know, but we're going to smooth it out anyway, so that's fine. We only need one channel to be like real deep and kind of blue, so we're going to still smoothing them out. Let's crank that up. That's better. That's better. That's doing something. as opposed to doing nothing. Keeping some of that water there, kind of some of that blue. If we do that, get rid of some of the depth. Oh no! Oh no! This is not right, no? That's fine. Whatever. We'll just brush over this centerpiece as well. Cool. So we've got the water that comes across the island. It's like, oh no, we've done something else here. Whatever. Does it matter? Probably. I feel I want to do something with this. Say, throw some material out on the island. I don't know, because this area now feels huge, absolutely massive. And that might be, I don't know. I mean, we can throw some rocks in here, definitely. So if we go back here, it's like, you're just using terrain and rocks, dude. Yeah, I know, because rocks don't physics to freak out and then, like, vanish into orbit. Go away. Or don't go away, subscribe, and then go away, but then come back and watch another video. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Small rocks. So we're going to throw some rocks into the beach, essentially like we've done before, in order to say, hey, you know, these rocks over here, they do things. There's a reason for the water to be flowing around like it does. It's like, oh, it does that because it can't go through a bit of granite. It's, you know, it's a thing. It's a thing. These shoreline rocks might be a little bit too big. We can throw them down in the sea. Throw them down here somewhere. We've already thrown some over there. I don't know. Small rock. It's a lumpy rock. It's a rock with a lump in it. We probably use these big rocks, actually. So if we go hit R, do this, and then press T, knock it down into sand, so a small amount's showing. Yep. All right. That's kind of neat as an effect. That's better. That's much better. All right. Do the same over here and knock it down. So you don't need the entire rock showing. You just need bits of the rock showing. The reason we've got these spars out the side, well, it could indicate some damage to the starboard ballast tank. So the tanks that run along the side of the ship. A boat, actually. No, submarine is a boat, not a ship. The ballast tank. So you have two tanks, one side, one the other. Fill it with water. The thing loses buoyancy and goes down because it's not displacing the same amount of water. So you displace less amount of water because suddenly the water is inside the craft and it goes down a bit. And then you use compressed air to flush out the water to displace more water around the vessel, and then you go up again. That's kind of how a submarine works in the most basic of YouTube commentaries. Cool. So we're just throwing some rocks and stuff around the beach. What's that? I was just looking and thinking, whoa, what's causing the weird shading? But it's the rock going nuts, throwing a shadow over the top of the boat. Yeah, that looks a lot. That looks enormous. Ugh, enormous. So we can still throw some rocks in the water. What I'm concerned about is having a big open area with no features or details on it. So we can throw some trees and stuff here as well. We might actually start doing that, throwing trees and various bits and pieces in. In fact, we're going to throw a rock into something that is water. I'll hit lower. It's brush, so I'm going to hit save again because I've been burnt way too many times with the bug. So it's not a bad thing actually, saving regular. Oh, that's the bug. That's the very bug. Or is it? No, that wasn't the bug. That was me. That was me with the amount all the way up. You know what? We can recover from this because we can just hit. We can go back and we can recover. That's not a problem. Oh, yeah. So if you haven't seen the bug, it kind of does something like this. But this isn't it. This is just me being dumb. So you know what? Since I'm being dumb, and we're going to have to load from the save that we made a few seconds ago, which is probably a good thing. you know what? I'm gonna end the video there. In fact, I'm gonna move over to this side. In fact, let's move over here so we don't see my mistake. Let's do that because it's getting to that time anyway. So you know what? I'll call it that. So if you're liking these videos, and submarine in the archway just about. If you're liking these videos, definitely subscribe, tell your friends about that channel, leave a comment or leave a little like, you know, any stuff like that's good. And I will catch you guys next time.